So, on today's episode of Nurturing the Future 1001 Days to Save the World, I am so excited to have one of our very powerful village visionaries, Josie, on the podcast. She is an absolute legend, actually. That's what I'm going to say. In this visionary
Bless
group,
you.
she has been such a cheerleader, as well as evolving and growing herself. She has really supported so many of the other village visionaries, with the fact that she actually has an incredibly successful established business even before she joined the village visionary program, but she's actually taken it on to the next level. So I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. And yeah, I would love to give you this opportunity just to tell everybody a little bit about your story, just to inspire people about what is possible, and also to elevate leadership in early years, which I think is really important because early years is often diminished in value. It's not seen. A lot of the work that we do is invisible. And yet, I know that you agree that what is happening in this critical window of the first 1001 days literally is actually everything. So, do you want to tell people a little bit about how you've ended up on this podcast today with me?
Yeah, thank you very much for letting me come on today. I love talking about early years. My background is early years. I've worked, I'm a qualified practitioner, so I've worked in early years for over 20 years. And that's with from newborn babies right up to teenagers. So I've seen a few things. I've worked a few places, I've dabbled. So for me, after I had my children, which I have four humans of my own anyway. So even in that sense, it's just an early years craziness here. But I really saw the importance of play and learning through play, and how we're losing the authenticity of play. It's becoming very forced. It's becoming very showmanship about play, and we're losing the real value of it. So when I created my business, it was mostly because of my third daughter, who I'm sitting in her bedroom right now. Um, and it was because of her that I wanted to create this. And she grew up in in my classes. Um, and then my son grew up in my classes. Um, I wanted to start showing parents that actually play is very natural to us. When we are born, we fall into play naturally. Children aren't taught how to play, which naturally just do it. And so that's where my classes came around. I wanted sensory. I wanted to incorporate play within the sensory field, and kind of draw back to the basics again. So we don't use plastics in my classes. We use authentic, real materials. We don't pretend. We actually use these materials properly. And sometimes I see some parents who are like, really like, oh my God. But the play is about risk and teaching them challenge and how to, figure those things out for themselves. We're here to support, we're here to play with them and alongside them, but we have to allow them to be able to do it for themselves. And that actually is starting to build those foundations, lay those foundations down, ready for them when they are older and then into adulthood.
Absolutely.
So I started doing my sensory classes, and I just love going into work every day and seeing the children and being a part of their journey, and speaking to the parents and just kind of opening their eyes up to, oh, you don't have to buy all of these toys. You can actually just give them a wooden spoon and let them go crazy in the garden. So, and that opens up all sorts of opportunities and experiences for them. And it wasn't until a little after I started doing a lot more work with babies that I was like, oh, okay, actually, my work needs to kind of focus here as well, quite a lot. And that's when I came across the Village Visionary Program, and I played around with whether or not I was going to join, whether or not it was the right time. And I thought, "Do you know what? I'm just gonna do it. You don't know until you try." And I'm so glad I did, because I have been able to learn all of these beautiful new skills and talents and incorporate it into my classes, um, and even add in the aspect and the element of play,
Yeah,
and still parents can have that special moment with their teeny tiny humans, but they're learning how to play authentically, naturally, and not put pressure on themselves. And that's what I want. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to teach. So I'm literally starting, I'm helping parents from the very, very beginning of
mm,
their journey into parenthood, and showing them the world of play, in the hope that these children will grow up into adults that will not require things
yeah,
to help them in their learning, in their growth, in their aspirations, in their challenges. They will use their mind because they have worked through those scenarios as they grew up,
yeah.
and they had the support of their parents when they were doing that. And that's what it's about. Is about a journey together. That's what my business ethos is. You journey together through play. So
Mm.
we glide through. We start as little sprouts and we work up to seedlings. We go from buds to young buds to sunflowers, and we bloom into these lovely human beings that can go out into the world and make change, and play. Everything is about play.
I love it. And you know what is really so wonderful to witness in you is it is so embodied. Like, because I know you, as we've hung out together as well as you obviously studying with us. It's so embodied. Like, you are that person, like in every single cell. And I think that's why when you talk, it literally sounds like it's a transmission coming through you, like it's a knowing, it's not like something, obviously you've got all of these incredible qualifications and you've got all the experience, but it's actually in the core essence of who you are, is that you believe this and you embody it. And like you say, you shared it with your kids, you do it yourself. And the creativity around it and the journey as well, the idea that we never need to stop playing, that we don't need to lose that magical child energy, which I think you really hold. Because why? That's the question, is like, why do we stop playing? Because everything is play, really. Everything's a game, everything's creative. We can approach everything with curiosity. And that's what I really loved about what you were saying around play, is that it is that exploration and curiosity. Like, what would happen if I did this? And then you can pick that up and actually put it into anything like cooking, fashion, music, all of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love that about you. It's so clear, it's you, that is your frequency, and I just really want to celebrate that.
Yeah, I have been known to be a little bit wild. And as I say, some of the parents, they get to know me. They get to learn, especially when they bring their sprouts, who are my teeny tiny babies. They're always very shy, and I just, it's very relaxed. There's no pressure. It's the freedom of movement, the freedom of exploring how the world, this is your world. Play, move, however it feels natural. And as they get older, they're starting to make a mess, or pouring things on the floor, and parents are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'll clean it up." And I'm like, "No, carry on, see what happens, carry on." So they, and by the time they get to kind of the toddler classes, they've got to know me quite well, and they're like, "Oh, Josie doesn't mind, it's all fine, it's fine." But yeah, I mean, play has taught us. There are so many studies to support play in early years, and the more we do it as young children, and as we grow older, the easier learning becomes for them, because that's how they figure things out. That's how they learn, through play. It takes a shorter amount of time for them to learn something through play than it does if you sit down and show them.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
that's why I love it.
So I really feel like you are a little bit of a kind of aspirational role model in the Blossom and Berry community, because you have really, created a business that, as you say, works around your four kids, gives you joy, and you are providing this like real, like, the real community that you need. You are the village visionary, and I remember you saying that to me that you kind of put that in your bios, like I'm a village visionary, because you really are. And I think you knew you were even before you came over. What has been like, what was it that made you have that vision that you just spoke about a moment from the sprouts to the seedlings? Like what was it? Did it just come to you, or is it because of your relationship with nature, or what is it that's like teased that out?
Yeah, I mean, I love nature, anything to do with anything natural, anything that's not forced already, not it's not planned for you, it's open-ended. I love that sort of thing because it gives the freedom of creativity. So I'd rather a plain piece of paper than something that's got something on it and you color it in. Give me a plain piece of paper and let my mind go. Um, so yeah, thank you. But for me, when I remember setting up the business and how I was going to structure the classes, I knew that I didn't want teeny tiny babies inside a room with lots of materials, with 2 or 3 year olds running around crazy, climbing ladders and jumping off things and stuff. So I needed some sort of kind of structure, for my mind, but as well as probably the parents as well. um, so I tried to combine it. I knew I needed it to be a natural approach, a curiosity approach. And in my head, I saw children quite literally growing as we are plants. We are all part of nature. We are all part of the world. And to me, that's what children are, is that we start off as these tiny little seeds. We are born and we are these little sprouts. And we just need just a little bit of love, and you don't do a lot with a sprout. You just let it sit in the sun. You give it some water, some nourishment, some love. You might talk to it every now and then it starts to grow. And that's what I saw. We had teeny tiny babies as little sprouts where we give them love and touch, and we are the carers. So yes, there's materials around, very gentle approach to the sensory play, but it's about you as well as the nurturer. And then as we grow into the seedlings, we're starting to swap those roles and offer more opportunities for the parents to play with their children and learn with their children. So we're nourishing that seedling. We're giving it a new pot to sit in and new positioning, and we maybe need a little bit of extra soil. So we're offering new materials. And then as they grew into buds and young buds, they're becoming more physical. So they need to be sort of out in the world. So let's practice those skills of climbing and going under things and jumping off of things and swinging in things. And that's what my classes are. I have these things that you can find in nature. I have them in my classes so that then when children go out into the world, they already have this element of connection to be able to go, oh, I know how to climb that tree. And the parents feel confident because I show them how to guide their children into allowing that risk. And they feel confident to let them do that. And I receive a lot of pictures and videos from parents of their children, their little ones climbing stairs, and a little caption like, thanks very much, Josie. But that I love that. I love that I was a part of that. And that's such an honor and a privilege to know that they've learned to do something in my class. They've gone home and thought, I'm climbing that. And their parents are like, okay, let's do it. And I've instilled that confidence in them. So for me, it was a no-brainer that everything was going to be connected to nature. Everyone finds the they understand the element of the classes because of the wording that I use. It just kind of came to me after a little thought, and I literally remember doing it just sitting on the sofa trying to design my website, because I don't go halves. I don't write anything down. I just do it. And I just wrote it out, said it out loud, and that was it. That was the classes formed. I knew exactly what they were for. I knew what ages they were for. I knew what I was going to do in those classes, because I'd kind of done it for the last 15, 20 years in nurseries and schools and as a private nanny, and working abroad and with my own children even, so it was a no-brainer. It was very easy for me, and I knew that's why, because it was easy, I knew that was right.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you say then in terms of your business? What's been your greatest achievement? Like what is the thing that when you look at your business that you feel like, yeah, like this is a bit of a, I've moved the needle here.
There's so many things. I don't know. I I don't know. People know me, which is really lovely. I am I'm known as, oh, you're Josie from the Nook. I'm not just Josie, I'm just Josie from the Nook, which is really lovely because it means people are talking
Yeah,
about it,
yeah,
and that makes my heart feel really full. And
mm,
I've been going now for nearly 4 years. So the Natural Sensory Nook will be 4 in May.
wow.
Um, and people, every time I get a booking, it doesn't matter what the booking's for, my heart just a little a little dance. Because it's just like, oh, someone has seen it and loved it and wants to join, and any little message anyone kind of sends me, parents looking for a baby massage class and they've seen some stuff of me or they've heard of me, and they're just like, how do I book? Where do I book? So for me, it's the joy that I am bringing and the honor of being a part of so many families. And I've even formed friendships myself with some of the families that I've worked with in my classes, and that's even more special. Um, I think the turning point for me was after 2 years of working with my business. I found a studio and just created this space that I had to have a space where my creativity had no limits, because obviously in halls and things like that, there's only so much you can do, which is fine. But my brain was just going wild, and I had all these amazing ideas that I wanted to offer to babies and children, but I couldn't because obviously I was restricted. And now I have this beautiful studio. um I have a swing, I have a ladder, I have slides, I've got fidget walls, I've got just all sorts of lights and plants everywhere, and it's just a little tiny little children's haven of play. And I've got a little workshop, and I've got a hub where parents can be, just have a cup of tea, they can feed, they can chill, they can cry. We sometimes have some parents who might want to have a little moment afterwards to talk to me. So we go in the hub and they just have a little one-on-one with me, and they just, are free to be themselves and completely open. And I receive that information from them, and I just hold them in that moment if they need it. That's what I wanted. And I'm able to do all of my work in this one space that is, it's just really magical. I'm so happy that I have this space, because every time someone walks in, I'm like, welcome.
Yeah, I mean,
Welcome to your
I think
home.
that is the dream, isn't it, for so many people? And I really
Yeah.
love the fact that you're sharing this because like just for example, today I've actually been teaching today. I don't teach very often, and just the packing and repacking of like everything that you need and making sure that because when you really care about parent well-being as well as baby well-being, you've got to think about their comfort and all the things that delight and light up parents as well as babies. There is a lot in that. So to have this devotional space like this nook, this absolute place where it's it's that absolute energy of nurturing care, it's beautiful. And the fact that it's your baby, it's not a children's centre and it's not a family hub. It comes from you as your creative expression. It's just really is. I know a lot of people will be listening to this thinking that is my absolute goals.
Yeah.
So please, like anyone who's listening, like definitely go over and follow all the amazing work that Josie does because yeah, I mean, that's not something that I achieved even, like when I was an instructor, I was moving around, I was doing lots of work, but I really believe that it's that anchor, isn't it? It is that just, especially when you care about parents and children. I think we all actually know the value of the home as the safe
Hmm.
space, and to have the
Yeah.
nook safe space, it reinforces even more everything that you're doing. So another reason why you are amazing. And yeah, so what's the future then? So, obviously you've grown the Nook, you've got all this experience in early years, you're an amazing mum of four. So what is the future? I mean, I'm really excited to hear this myself actually, because I mean, I know you did Mother Blessings course with me as well, and I know you've now really stepped in, activated into your kind of more spiritual side and holding space in nature. And I feel intuitively that one day you're going to have a training school. That's my kind of goal for all my village visionaries to one day have their own little training school. So what would you say in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be?
5 years. I actually wrote a letter to myself a little while ago. So from myself now to 5 years ahead. So hopefully it'll work. I've put it out in the world.
Yeah,
So I don't know where I'll be in 5 years. Hopefully I will be doing the things that I have written in my letter, which I would love to speak at events,
great.
um, and talk
You've already
and
done one.
yeah, true.
Last year, yeah. You're welcome to come back, by the way.
Yeah,
Another
more
go in
to do with
November.
what I actually do. um, but I would love to be able to share what play is about and how we should be coming back to those basics and just kind of reshaping what play is.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, really putting that out in the world and kind of being on a panel with people and, idols and just being alongside them would be quite amazing to be able to spread a message, share the word about play and the importance of play and how you don't have to do all the shiny things on Instagram and buy all the pretty toys. So yeah, that would be something that would be very, very cool. I'm actually working towards writing a book.
Yeah, great.
Um, so that will be based around play, of course.
Mhm.
Um, but it's not like what is play, an educational book as such. It's more a story and like a Bible for parents to be able to reassure themselves. There'll be areas where they can understand what play really is, how the brain works, how children really learn.
Yeah.
And how they can support their child. So a lot about what I do in classes is just going to go into word form, and it will be fun as well and interactive. But I'm also starting a YouTube channel.
Yes, Josie, go. I mean,
So
you are a born children's TV presenter, so
I don't know about that,
she's
but
not a pro.
I felt a pull to want to share what I do in classes. And I get a lot of questions. I get so many questions in classes. I get people messaging me. And I just felt a real pull to go, do you know what? I could quite literally show people and talk about it all the time. So let's make some videos. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of doing. And there's some other things that are in the background. I've even teamed up with some other fellow village visionaries, and we've come together as a bit of a force, and we've got some really exciting things planned together, which is going to be really cool. So watch this space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having a book out in the world, even if no one buys it, I don't really care. I've put the brain power into it and it's out in the world. But definitely the YouTube channel, growing my classes. I would love to have nooks all over the place
Mm.
and just have some, people like myself just running these beautiful spaces where people can be supported in all sorts of areas.
Mm.
Um,
Training school,
and
said that at the beginning. I think,
I don't know if anyone would want to learn from me. That would just be
oh,
weird.
I do.
They can go on my YouTube channel. I
From
don't know. I
not
mean,
so much.
maybe when I'm old and ancient and can't possibly get down on the floor to play with the children anymore, then perhaps maybe I train other people to do so.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I see myself sitting on stage and sharing and advocating for early years, advocating for play and the importance of it. Um, Not just in nurseries and schools and things, but actually at home. and how you can do that from birth,
Yeah.
because play is so detrimental. So yeah, I really see myself doing that.
Well, I'm holding that vision for you. And I have no doubt whatsoever that you will do it because you're an absolute powerhouse. Your energy is just, you are like that person that walks into a room and like everyone just goes and I can't, with children, that's just such a gift. So I really see you in your power and your vision and all of your things. And honestly, you know, obviously you're still part of Blossom and Berry community, but in the Village Visionary program, you were just always the most positive cheerleading person I think that I could ever have wanted in the group. And I really, really am grateful. And I know, like you said, there's been some beautiful relationships formed with the other Village Visionaries, which is actually like a kind of one of the things I think about joining communities is you go from the me to the we. And when you find the others, you can geek out, you can nerd out, you can like, you just get it. And that in itself is such a valuable asset. In all parts of life, supporting you in your business and your growth and your education, but also just for the sheer fun and play, like you say, you want to play with the other people that kind of got the brief. And yeah, I love your energy in all ways. So do you want to tell everyone where they can find out more about you? So yeah, you'll probably end up with more questions and all the rest of it, so you'll have to definitely have your channel, but tell everyone where can they find you and how can they connect with you and maybe find out more about joining classes and things like that.
Yeah, so my company is called the Natural Sensory Nook, and we are quite literally a little nook in Barnum in West Sussex. So I have a website, which is thenaturalsensorynook.co.uk. I'm also on Instagram, on Facebook, Linktree, and you can just see everything on there. Instagram quite literally is my little hub where you can find pretty much everything, and the website is a little haven of just information and telling you what I do, and all my classes and how to book. And yeah, I try to be very present on my socials. So I do a lot of silly lives. You will see me as me. There is no filter, I'm afraid. It's just this.
Love. I I want more of this. And then, of course, as she said, there's the book, the YouTube channel, and then obviously her own TV series that's coming out soon, plus speaking at events globally. So just watch this space.
President
This
next.
girl can, this girl can. You are a master manifester. So I'm glad that we've got this interview on you on well, it'll be on YouTube and it'll be on the podcast. Hey, on the 24th of April, you heard it here. I'm going to check back in 5 years' time. But no, seriously, Josie, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for your patience with me today as well, because I messed up my diary and she's been incredible, like moving things around. She's a very busy lady with all her children and classes. So thank you for your compassion for that. And yeah, I do
Not at
miss
all.
this for anything because you are an absolute shining star and I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy for, like I said, for the energy you've actually given to Blossom and Berry, as well as us being able to support you. You are amazing. So please, anyone who's thinking about becoming a teacher, um, or being a leader in early years, go over and see what Josie's doing because she's really super embodied, and that's what we want, authentic leaders in the world right now. Yeah. For sure. Well,
Absolutely. We
all
need
right. Well,
more.
thank you for joining me today. And yeah, it's been fun really hanging out. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.